Vilhauer, and today is our last hot seat, and we are ending with a big, big bang because we have fiction author Bethany Ball here with us today. And this is somebody that AJ has known for a while. I am new to Bethany, but I have definitely checked out her awesome platform, and we are going to have a lot of fun here. So Bethany, I just want to personally thank you for showing up today and allowing us to dig into your work and offer you some support.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking.
Yeah. So for those of you who are new, because I mean, we have had Bethany over the past couple of weeks, this is our 5th hot seat, and every hot seat's like more and more and more people are learning about this. And there's been a lot of buzz. I was up until 11:30 last night, just replying to messages and comments and like, it's been so fun. It's kind of sad that it's over, but for those of you who are new and just joining us, we'll do some introductions in a minute, but what a hot seat is basically we have invited an author today, Bethany, to come in and put AJ and myself in the hot seat. So Bethany is going to be able to ask us questions on anything from how do I get started with writing a book, except I know she's on her second book.
She doesn't need that.
We don't need that. But we did cover that with Steve Drum on Monday.
Yeah.
And we can also talk about publishing. We can talk about relaunching. We can talk about how to promote your upcoming release. We can talk about readers and marketing and monetization, anywhere, any direction that you want to go in. And basically over the next 20 or so minutes, she's going to put us in the hot seat. No clue what she's going to ask us. And we're just going to give her our highest and best advice during that time. And this is all a precursor to a 2-day live event that AJ and I are hosting with our mutual colleague and friend, Mike Michalowicz, where we designed this 2-day event as a way of just helping authors and giving back and honestly fixing a lot of the myths and, can I say garbage, education that's out there that is actually not helping authors get their message out and to develop core readership. And so during this event, we're actually giving you a copy of the launch plan that we custom designed for Mike so that he could sell 10,000 copies of his book week 1 when he launches Fix This Next on April 28th. And so we're giving you a copy of that launch plan and all of the supporting documentation that comes with it. So live stream protocols, podcast protocols, how to do outreach with influencers and supporters, all of that given to you in a workshop setting where we can then help you customize this plan to keep ownership of it and use it for future launches. And anybody watching this hot seat is going to be gifted a $500 discount and free hotel for 2 nights. So our team is standing by. We will put that in the link below. Anybody that wants to come, this is a precursor to that. And now I want to dive into some introductions and get going with Bethany because I want to give her as much help as we possibly can today. AJ, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, girl.
I'm just going to do super rapid. I was a ghostwriter for 10 years, but now I help authors write transformational books. In my workshop, I also am Mike Michalowicz's writing partner for all of these books that you see here. And I also am the head writing coach for Heroic Public Speaking. So that's me in a nutshell. You can learn more about me in other spaces. But I really want to give time to Bethany today, so I'm just doing that speed.
Perfect. My super speedy is for 10 years. I've had a company, NGNG Enterprises, stands for No Guts, No Glory. I build websites, launched nearly 1,000 of them for authors, speakers, and coaches over the years. I launched best-selling books, more than 35 of them by now. And I'm an online marketing junkie, so I know all the stuff about online marketing. And that's as fast as I can make my pitch. All right.
Awesome. I'm Bethany Ball.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm Bethany Ball. I'm about to publish my second book in 2021. My first book was What to Do About the Solomons.
Love that cover, by the way.
Published by Grove in 2017. So I'm trying to sort of I think that the book went well. I think everything went well, but I have questions about what I can do differently for the next one. It is different, I think, probably launching a second novel rather than a debut. So I would love to know your thoughts on that as well. But yeah, so that's my story.
Can I just also interject that Bethany, you were just on her site where my favorite little quote that Bethany had rave reviews from Judy Blume.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that was What a huge thing.
I actually went down to Key West and did a reading at her synagogue, which was
Oh my gosh.
like great, the best thing ever. I have her thank you note framed. That's how much it meant to me.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. Yeah. You guys have to check out this book. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, and Bethany you're in edits now on the second book, right?
I'm about to get it back from my publisher. Hopefully in the next couple months. I'm taking this time to just chill out because I did a real big push before December to get the book to them. So yeah, but they okayed my title. So the next book is going to be called The Pessimists.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I was happy about that, but we'll see, things change with titles.
So Bethany writes literary fiction, and that's a different animal when it comes to promotion. And we talked a little bit about it this morning, Bethany, that, you were saying even people in the industry surprise you with their aversion to it.
Yeah, I feel like, because literary fiction is, it's meant to be entertaining, and I hope that I'm writing an entertaining book, but it's also, it's literary. It's sort of like art. Mm-hmm. And so you almost feel like you're not supposed to think about the commercial aspect of it. But of course, I want, as many readers as I can possibly find. So, and it's challenging when you are, kind of an introvert. I had not had a lot of public speaking experience before this book went out. I have a lot now, thank God. But, it was challenging, negotiating that. And I had I have a great publisher. I had a great publicist. But I know that a lot of the onus is on me as an author to go out and push my book. And I'd love to know more about how I can do that effectively, especially for the second.
Yeah. Do you want me to start, Amber?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know that you also do other writing in support of your book, right? So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, the way that it works now is a publisher will tell you, listen, we don't necessarily want to send you on a book tour because you don't want to go sit in a bookshop and have one person show up, Mm-hmm. So we would love for you to write essays. Writing essays is a different animal from writing fiction. And it's something that I'm still working on, but it was definitely not something I was pumping out. Mm-hmm. So, that was challenging for me.
So it does help. And I think Amber would agree, though, that even though it works for other people and you get advice from your publisher, do this, write essays. Right. That might not be good for you if it's difficult for you and it's something that's hard for you to do consistently.
Yeah. And you want to write a good essay. And if you're not naturally an essayist, it can be hard.
Yeah. How do you feel about, now that you're familiar with public speaking, how would you feel about podcasts?
Podcasts are a great idea. Yeah.
I think that's a really good solution for you. And it's not just literary podcasts. It's not just book lovers podcasts. It's thinking about what are the main themes in the book.
Yeah.
And how is it maybe relevant today to what is happening in the world, what is happening in the news cycle, and how can you pull out those themes and this is where a publicist would really be able to help you.
Okay.
Find some podcasts where you can pitch, which is something. Do you know your release date yet?
Oh, that's such an interesting idea. I think it's going to be mid-21.
Oh, you have plenty of time then.
I have plenty of time.
So this is great because you can start assembling a list of podcasts that you would like to be on, but you need to pitch them at least, in some cases, 6 months in advance, but at least 4 months in advance with not just galleys, but you need to have a pitch sheet for podcasts. And Amber and I can also send you links to some examples. And Amber actually has a podcast protocol that you can give to an assistant that helps you vet and pitch them. But that would be huge because I know that editors and publishers know that podcasts do sell books.
Okay.
Unlike if you were on the Today Show or something, they just don't really move books.
That's interesting.
But people love podcasts and they love the recommendations from podcasters and the discussions with authors. So I would look into that. And I would also look into, do you know about BookTubers?
Yeah.
I don't.
I can imagine what it is. So
it's just book bloggers that are on YouTube and they're called BookTubers.
Okay.
You can get on and talk to them, and they can also review your book, and they have huge audiences.
Okay.
And also Bookstagram. Do you know about Bookstagram?
Yes. Bookstagram I do know about. Yeah.
So you can have a publicist work on Bookstagram tour and on booktubing to just try and get more people thinking about, because you told me a little bit about your book, so I think it has the possibility of a lot of people being interested in that topic.
Yeah, I have, this is a good topic. I think people are really curious about the two kind of themes in my book. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would encourage you to branch out into those areas, since public speaking isn't hard for you.
Right. Right.
Because it moves books. It really, and podcasts are forever.
Yeah.
People listen to them sometimes 2 years later, and they're still buying that stuff. I'm sorry, Amber, go. Sorry.
No, I've been over here trying to find this, but I developed this like 32-page podcast protocol, as AJ mentioned. It's actually something we're giving to people at Author Up Live. But basically, I designed this for Mike Michalowicz because people are constantly asking him, can you be on my show? And he's at this place where he just doesn't have the time to be on everybody's show. So there's a whole vetting sequence so that you can make sure that you're only getting on the right podcast. And then the other side of it is getting an assistant, somebody to help you with this. How do you do the research to find the best podcasts? How can we reach out to them, make sure it's a fit? How can we then introduce you, move forward with scheduling, prepare you for the actual episode so you don't feel like you have to do all of the research? And then how do we promote it? How do we archive it, repurpose it? So Bethany, I'm just going to give you a copy of that today just to support your journey. But I wanted to also bring this up because this is an example of that fact sheet that AJ had referenced.
Yeah, so one sheet for your book.
Yeah, it's just a one-pager. And you could actually even feature both books if you want to. You could add in the testimonial from Judy. You could have your photo, any other like photos with influencers or powerful people to show your credibility. And then I know this is hard to see, so you'll just have to see it in the actual document. But then I have some talking points, so that as I'm shopping myself out to different hosts, they can quickly just look at this, get a sense of who I am, my value, my credibility, and they can immediately see like, oh, some people really love this talking point, but other ones might like this one. And the fact that I have a list up, so these would be your themes that you talk about in your book, for example. And the talking points will make it
so easy. That looks so easy. That really looks like it makes the process.
Oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. Seriously. Yeah. So I'm just going to give that to you after the call.
And you can just get a graphic designer, just give them the copy and the imagery, and they'll put it together for you. And you can get a virtual assistant just for a short time during your launch. You don't have to take somebody on for your whole life.
Right.
That can just implement the small little mediocre details that sometimes we forget to do, especially if we're writers. We're not thinking about all those little tiny to-do lists.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then we miss stuff. But I really think you would rock it on podcasts. And you should be on NPR and all these other radio programs.
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, yeah.
And if you can have somebody else do a lot of that research and outreach for you, it actually is a better positioning angle. Like, oh, Bethany's, so famous and busy that she doesn't have time to do this herself, so I'm representing her. It's a good thing. I have a question though. I need to clarify, Bethany, who is your ideal reader? And is it different from book to book, or is it the same? Have they experienced some sort of transformation to where they are evolving with you on this journey? Can I understand that piece a little bit more? Because my brain is starting to think about how we can really leverage social media.
I think I have a wide and varied interest. My father was a journalist. His father was a journalist. So the idea of sort of journalistic fiction is really interesting to me to read. So one of my favorite writers is a writer named Rachel Kushner, who writes about really varied and different. She wrote a book that takes place in a prison, women's prison. She wrote a book that takes place in 1970s New York art scene. She's just really detailed. And for me, that's how I my ideal reader is somebody who is wanting to learn about a place that maybe they haven't been to. My first book takes place on a kibbutz in Israel.
Right.
I was not raised in a kibbutz in Israel, but I did enough research that it was, that it's believable, and it's a topic that people are interested in. Israel, for better or worse, a lot of times worse, is always in the news. So this is like an alternative kind of view at something that people think they know. And I think that's kind of my ideal reader, the one who is interested in what's going on sort of behind the scenes of something we all think we know about. So my second book is about a progressive school. Progressive schools have been in the news recently, especially in our county.
Especially in our county.
Yeah, so it's kind of a peek into another world. So I'm not trying to mirror my life to other people, but look at other lives, I guess. That's how I think about it.
So AJ, I just want to pick your brain on this, if I may. Like, if we do this approach with a podcast, and that can then carry into social media and other aspects of marketing, and we're doing it that's more like theme based, is that how we're tapping into her ultimate reader? Or what else can we do to make sure that we are pulling in the right audience so that it's serving her for subsequent books?
I think it's the themes. I think it's the themes that people find interesting, especially if you can connect the themes to what people are experiencing right now, and what is the zeitgeist right now, and how is it affecting us now? Because I know you just said it's post 2008 recession, right?
Yeah.
That earlier.
Yeah. So the theme is real. So there's two kind of things that really fascinated and obsessed me, and I think that the rest of the culture is obsessed with them too, which is prepping for the end of the world and sort of this alternative school. The public schools maybe aren't good. Maybe we should find an alternative school and 100%. See what that's like. So I think these are things that people are thinking about a lot. And that's why I was partly interested.
But that should get you on NPR. That should get you 100%. On some podcasts.
That is so interesting. If you got obsessed about it, I think that easily we can get other people obsessed about it too. Yeah. Then it starts to go viral. But I think
so many newspaper articles, about end of the world prepping, and it's all over the place. So yeah.
So do you have ideas, Amber, for social? What would you do with the themes?
I think it's important that you're really documenting this journey, like as much as you can. And we tell this to nonfiction authors too. It's like, and the sooner you can start, the better. So this segment is going to serve other people who are early in the writing process that, if I have an idea for a book, I might start saying like, this is my idea for the book. What do you guys think? What are your ideas? What are you curious about? Right. And then I might pull that information, do some research, and then give it back. And then, I found this interesting article. Gosh, what do you guys think of this? Or here's the way I think about this piece. Or now fast forwarding to where we are with you months out from the launch, if you hear something in the news, it's like, whoa, this is really fascinating. And here's what I think about this article. So along this journey, you're like getting people obsessed with it because you're teaching them how to think.
So that's something I should be doing, like on my Twitter, for instance, and Facebook. Okay.
All the time. And I don't even it's really important for an author like you that you don't feel like, it's 3:00. I have to post something on Instagram.
No,
what should I post on Instagram? That's not going to work for you. So instead, I want you to look at it like, oh, wow, I was just on this thing with Amber and AJ and it inspired this thought. And instead of keeping it to self, it's like, I'm just going to put it out there into the world. I don't even care who's listening. It's like, oh, this is what my reaction was. Or, oh, now this happened and I had this interesting conversation. And
am I tagging my book? Am I letting people know that this is a theme in my book, or is that not important right now? Like, am I tagging the pessimists, or?
If I would. Direct relation, absolutely. You could have a hashtag called #the pessimist anytime that it relates to that, or you might get inspired remembering back to the first book, and then you might make a post about that, and then all of a sudden you're starting to think about the third book, and then you're putting that out there. So it's just like, I want this to be like something that's like breathing naturally for you. Like I'm just sharing.
That would be as natural as breathing for me. Yeah,
you have a good Twitter game, but I think you share interesting, quirky. I follow you on Twitter.
Yeah,
You have a good Twitter game, and one thing that I want to note is that you're good at supporting other authors.
Yeah, that's how I feel like I am contributing to the literary world, you know, and any clout that I have, which is not that much, but a teeny bit, you know, I want to bring up authors that are up and coming.
So you can also take that to the next level, and you could, you know, I know you're involved with Hudson Valley Writers, right?
Yeah.
Because I sometimes see you doing a reading there.
Yeah.
So you can, as you get closer to when your runway is maybe 3 months out, 2 months out, you know, you could have pre-planned maybe some events with other writers
that
have books coming out or recently had books out, so that you're creating those events and opportunities for people to come and learn more about more than just you. That means they're bringing their fans, they're bringing their readers, who then become yours.
Right.
So can you have an event there? Can you have an event in the city? Can you have, you know, whatever's, if you just mentioned that your book is set in a rivertown village.
Yeah.
So that, you know, showing up in other river, not just the one we live in, but other rivertown villages, where you can connect with other artists and authors to create your own momentum with live events.
Okay. No, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought, I knew, because that stuff starts to happen when the book comes out, but I hadn't thought about doing it before the book comes out. That makes sense.
Yeah. And one more thing I have to add is, do you know about BookBub?
No.
Okay. So this is something you need to ask your publisher to help you with. So BookBub, their sole purpose is they have a curated lists of people who are interested in specific genres. So literary fiction, horror, romance, even then subcategories within them. And they subscribe to their newsletter. There are millions of people on it. And sometimes your literary fiction could have, you know, 200,000 people on it that are specifically looking for new books. What you do is you do a BookBub deal, and you have to apply for it.
Okay.
So you would ask your, you know, publisher if you can do it yourself or if they'll do it. It's not expensive. It's maybe a couple $100 depending on how much you end up discounting your book. So you'll say for 1 to 5 days, depending on however long you want it to be, your book will be a discount of whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
Or you can even do free for just 2 days, 3 days. They promote it. It's ridiculous and it's ebook. So ridiculous how many downloads you get. Yeah. But you position it so that comes out maybe right 2 weeks, a month before The Pessimist comes out. So you do because it's usually backlist.
Okay.
So what to do about the Solomon. So then people who are interested, they love that, can now go do the pre-order for your new book that's coming out.
Okay.
You have to get with your publisher and say, number one, can you put an ad in the back of my ebook for Solomon's for The Pessimist?
Okay.
With a buy link.
Okay.
Okay. And are you willing to discount the price on the ebook for this period of time? Because they have to go in and manually change that, but they do it all the time. Big Five does it all the time.
Okay. Okay.
So but you just need to give them a heads up way in advance and say, this is what I want to do. Are you guys down with it?
Okay.
But you'll get a ton of new readers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, they do that for Goodreads, don't they? I mean,
there's Goodreads giveaways that publishers do all the time.
But on Goodreads, I'll see that someone has read an advanced e-copy.
Because they're probably reading it on NetGalley.
NetGalley, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is
different from BookBub?
Yeah, NetGalley is a review platform. So you have to have an account there, and people can go and request a free galley because they're usually librarians or booktubers or book reviewers. But this is different. This is an actual promotion of backlist.
Okay, I get it.
And you could end up with thousands of downloads of your ebook for readers who would have never heard of you.
Okay, all right.
But they want the deal, and they're interested in your genre.
And when should I do that?
So I would position it. They only let you. So BookBub is 30 days out. You know, like so. They'll only schedule it within the next 30 to 60 days. So you don't do it super far in advance, but you can go at least familiarize yourself with BookBub. Okay. They'll even tell you how many people are on their literary fiction list.
Okay.
And then, but the thing is getting buy-in from your publisher because they have to agree to do it.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
This is great. I have like 3 great pieces of advice, I feel like, right now.
Good. I was just going to ask you, like, what's been your experience so far? What was one of your biggest ahas? We have time for one more question, but before that, what's coming up for you during this hot seat?
Just, well, definitely because I'm super interested, obviously, in these 3 topics, really: Israeli kibbutz, Navy SEALs, which is what my first book was about, kibbutz and Navy SEALs, basically. And then for the second book, alternative schools and prepping for the end of the world. And I feel like I'm always trying to have both a male and a female component to my novels. So I'll have the Navy SEAL on the one side, and then sort of the kibbutz gossipy culture on the other. And then with this book, it's the preppers and then the alternative school. So it's kind of like masculine and feminine world, sort of, but not really. I'm sort of stereotyping, but yeah, so the idea of pushing those topics, because I'm obsessed with them. I know I'm not the only one. And and I know that if you knew how interesting it was, you'd be obsessed with it too. And let me show you, so that was one aha moment.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like that's going to be easy for you.
That's going to be super easy for me. Yeah. And that's something that I didn't know going into I didn't know how to talk about my first book. Yeah, I just didn't know what to do to start. And also having events before the book launch, because I figured, nothing will happen. I'll show up at other people's book launches and support all my friend writers, not friend writers, just other writers, but that I could start having events before the book launch and get out there. That's what I do.
The last thing I want to say is, did you go to American Library Association?
No.
So, I feel like you would be such a big sell for libraries. And so
libraries, I think What to Do About the Solomons did well with libraries. I mean, I've seen it in a lot of libraries all over the country.
So the ALA National Convention is in June. And if you can find a way to pitch yourself to get on a panel or be involved in some way, or ask your publisher, can I be involved at ALA? Because they'll probably be there. I think that's great for you to meet librarians and be present there. So I would look into that as well. Ways for you to improve your library, because that's tens of thousands of opportunities for sales. And then they're always looking for opportunities to meet with authors.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Sorry, I just threw that in there and it wasn't a question.
Yeah, no, that's helpful.
It's amazing, right? I love these hot seats. AJ, we're just going to have to talk about doing more of them.
We have to do more.
Because these are just fun. Really a lot of really great insight being shared. And even in the comments, like, people are telling us, or afterward, and messages telling us what they're getting out of it. It just feels really good to help authors always. Do you have maybe one lightning round last question?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure I do. I feel like everything, I feel like you guys have answered all my questions, really.
Can I just say one more thing? Yeah. I think, Amber, can you share what you wanted to share with Julian the other day about the video? Because I think that's something that would be good on Bethany's site, about creating a video presence there.
Yesterday we had a fiction writer, Julian Winters. That's a great replay. You guys can go back to the NGNG Facebook page and watch that hot seat as well. But like now, we ran out of time. And so I actually recorded like a 10-minute video for Julian after the hot seat. And I was giving him some advice about his website, because what I have noticed is that a lot of fiction writers have a very simple website.
Yes.
It's like a lot of white space and maybe a photo. And I'm not knocking that. That's a choice, right? It's not a bad choice. It's just a choice. What I'm seeing in the website world is that people are craving more of an experiential website. So what I recommended for Julian is, like, when somebody first lands on his website, you'll see this big header and it's basically just a photo of him. And I said, what if instead that were more of like a video moving background that could put me into the experience of his book that's coming out in August, The Summer of Everything. So maybe I could see Julian, with a camera behind him, like there's a quick 1 to 2 seconds of him walking down a sidewalk. And then there's another one of somebody reading his book. And then there's another one of him talking to a crowd, or a photo coming in that speaks to some of the themes in his book. And it's just basically like a 15 to 20-second video background. I do these all the time in my website. So like you'll see the author up live just has still photos, but there's still movement, so you can understand the experience of that event.
Right.
Whereas with my Amber Vilhauer site, this site is positioning more as a speaker, a thought leader. And so you'll see that there's little segments of my world, so that when you land, you're like, oh, that's who Amber is.
Okay.
And you'll see that this is like super high energy, a lot of movement, things going on. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's my personality, right? Whereas one of our other author friends, Indrani, her video background is much slower. And you see that she's very methodical. She's very intentional. She's, you know, very professional. She's on a TED stage. She's on this massive other stage. And so this video background can really give people an impression of your branding and where you're at and how they can meet your tempo. It helps somebody to feel like they're in the right place with you. And so whether you're a nonfiction author and maybe you're a speaker, you're doing podcasting and press, or whether you're a fiction author, it could be a really interesting concept to just pull out some themes. But either way, it's about 15 seconds. There's no audio, so there's really no pressure. And that video background can change all the time. Like once the new book comes out, or it could be a compilation of a lot of different, you know, things. So that's one thing that I told Julian that he might want to start to be a little bit more playful with.
Yeah.
The other thing, and then we really have to go, is that I also think that it's really helpful this day and age when you can meet your website visitors at the front door of your website and greet them and help them navigate the website and kind of what your ecosystem is. So like if you had a little short video that's like, this is who I am, this is what I do, these are my 2 books, these are the common themes and the contrast between each, this is the type of reader that I tend to attract, and this is the journey that we're going on. And this is the book that's coming out, and here's when it's coming out, and here's how you can stay informed.
And that's something that it's like a video of me doing that.
I mean, for you, Bethany, I would just do what you shared with us today is these are the things I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to say, this is who my reader, you could just say, this is the stuff I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed. And this is why. And just share your enthusiasm for the stuff you think is just so freaking awesome. And we should all be obsessed with it.
Okay. All
and
right.
It should just be really real, raw Bethany. Doesn't have to be like perfect Bethany. It has to be real and raw Bethany.
Right.
Like we're just you and me having a conversation right now. And when you do that, oh my gosh, those 2 things, the experience and then that personal connection, will be a freaking game changer on your website.
I can see that. I could see how that could be. You know, video, I feel I'm slightly older writer. So video is something that I have not had so much experience with, but I can really see how that could be helpful on a website and why that would be interesting to people.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions, like what I do all day long is help people to overcome whatever they think or feel or experience around video and make it really easy and relatable. So we can always talk offline anytime if you need support.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great.
Wow. That was fun.
That
really
was
super
fun.
helpful. Bethany, thank you. You asked some really
so much
great questions.
All right. Thanks so much. That's a lot of great advice. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll send you the follow-up. I'll send you the podcast protocol that I created, and we can also talk offline. For everybody else, I just want to thank you so much for tuning into this Hot Seat series. I just want to bring some closure and say that we're really grateful for everybody's attention and your engagement, your comments, your messages. Keep them coming. And for anybody who wishes that they could put us in the hot seat, I do have a page. We'll drop the link below. ambervilhauer.com/hot will take you to an application page. And if you just answer some questions that give me a sense about the type of author you are, what your situation is, the background, the platform, that will help me to then deliver a next step to you. It might be that I give you some really customized training. It might be that we set up a call and you can put me in the hot seat. But either way, I want to give back to the viewers and just thank them for all of their energy and attention throughout this series. And other than that, my partner, AJ, freaking love you, girl. Good job.
Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you later.